So geothermal heating is sometimes confusing. It's actually much better to talk about it as ground source heating because of the confusion. So in Iceland, where I grew up, they have what's called geothermal heating because their groundwater is heated by magma in the Earth's crust, molten lava. And so they can just take superheated groundwater and pump it through your house and heat your house that way. That is not what we're talking about when we're talking about geothermal heating. We're talking about ground source heat pumps that are actually using the heat from the sun that is absorbed into the surface of the earth. And so it's actually solar heat if you think about it. 47% of the sun's energy as it hits the earth is absorbed. And some of it is reflected back into space and trapped in the atmosphere, which keeps us nice and warm. And these days increasingly a little bit too warm. So when we talk about geothermal heating here in New York and in Pennsylvania, we are not talking about the geothermal like they have in Iceland. We are talking about this right-hand side of my slide, which is the sun's heat as it is absorbed into the earth. And below frost line, the temperature of the earth is about a constant 52 degrees-ish. And so that's the heat that we're talking about using to heat and cool your home, just to make that clear. Okay, so any geothermal or ground source heating system has three basic components. There's a bunch of different kinds of these systems, but they all have these three components. So the one component is the ground loop. That's the way that that Earth's heat or that sun heat is collected. And then it's brought into your house. And there's the second part, which is the refrigerant loop, where there's a compressor and heat exchanger that usually lives in your basement. And then the third part is the distribution system that distributes that heat around your house. And you already have a distribution system of some kind in your house that distributes the heating system that you currently have. So the new parts are the ground loop and the refrigerant loop. And sometimes you need an upgrade or an amendment to your distribution system, but you are familiar with what one is. So I won't fully explain the refrigerant loop, but basically all heat pumps work on a little bit of physics magic, which is made possible because the chemicals in the refrigerant loop are chemicals that can be easily condensed or evaporated, releasing or absorbing heat. And that process is what keeps the inside of your refrigerator cool. So it's a little bit of magic, but it takes the heat from the earth or from the air from another source and makes it so that you can use it to heat or cool your house. Okay, moving on. So just that ground loop, that first part that is collecting the heat from the ground comes in different flavors and colors. Most commonly in this area, we see horizontal loops where trenches are dug. I'll show you a picture of that. And these loops are put down that have water with a little bit of antifreeze in them. That water circulates through the ground by a pump and is collecting the heat of the 52-degree ground, or expelling heat from your house if it's running in air conditioning mode to the 52-degree ground and bringing it back into your house. But also for some people, a ground loop, a horizontal loop is not convenient, so, or possible. So for some people, they bring in a drill rig and drill a deep hole and run a vertical loop. And then for a few people, you might have a pond on your property that is suitable for a heat pump, and then you can just run the loops out into your pond. There are some cautionary things with that technique, so you'd want to be careful that your pond was suitable for it, but it could end up being the cheapest option because you don't have to dig or drill or dig as much. So it's why it's very important to talk to our installers, because they are the experts in which kind of ground loop is the best for your situation at your house. They understand the geology and a lot of the other factors that go into that. Okay. So here's some more pictures of ground loops. On the right is horizontal loops. Those are about 6 foot deep trenches by 150 feet long, I believe. And one of those trenches for each sort of ton of heating that you need for your house. And on the left-hand side, you can see a drill rig, just like if you were drilling a water well for your house. It's the same exact thing, except instead of a water well, they put a pipe down for collecting the heat. Okay, I don't have a picture of a pond being dug. So here's what the inside looks like. It sort of looks like a refrigerator. And this is where that water, that heated water or cooled water, if it's in air conditioning mode, will come into your house and go into this unit, the heat pump unit itself. And that's where the magic of the refrigerant loop happens. And then in this picture, you can see this is a forced air system. So you can see this duct work going up just as it would from your fossil furnace. And that's going to go throughout the house, bringing the warmed air or the cooled air in the summer throughout your home. Okay, these are a couple of case studies just quickly. This is a system that was installed quite a few years ago here in Tompkins County. This is my friend Katie's house. It's a beautiful, modernly built farmhouse on 3 floors, and she had radiant heat in all the floors, and she was heating with wood and propane. So she got quite a big system. It's a 6-ton hydronic heat pump system. She had horizontal trenches dug, and the cost to her at that time after the incentives was $22,750. Her annual savings compared to what she was paying for heat before was $3,746. And so the payback period for her her system was only 3.4 years, which is incredible. And another thing she said when she wrote me an email about it is that with her old system, they had kept the house at around 60 degrees, and with the new system, it was around 68 degrees. So a real difference for her home's comfort, and an incredible difference in the cost for them monthly and annually. And another example, this is a forced air system. This is my friend Emily and Jim's house in Newfield. So this one was just put in almost exactly a year ago. It cost $36,000 before the incentives, $19,000 after the incentives. And they haven't, this is the projected savings. They haven't given me their numbers yet, but this is what was projected by the installer of $1,100 to $1,200 a month. It was a smaller system, 4-ton forced air system. And again, a horizontal loop field. They have a big pasture where their horses are, or just, I think they just have 1 horse now. And that's where the loop field went. So here's a little price comparison of some of these are all the same size 4-ton systems, which is I think the same as the last house I showed you. And this is showing some of the technology that's available through the HeatSmart program. So that we have a forced air variable speed unit, a forced air 2-speed unit, and a hydronic unit on the bottom here. And you can just see these are some of the quoted prices from our HeatSmart Tompkins installers. They're brand new incentives that NYSEG and National Grid has the same ones just announced that are based on the efficiency of each unit. So they're calculated by each kind of a piece of equipment. So that's why I can't just tell you what the incentive is for your house. It's going to depend on what kind of system you have put in. And then these are the prices afterwards. And then I calculated the price that would actually cost you after the 26% federal tax credit. And of course, that tax credit can only be used by people who are paying federal taxes. So not everybody qualifies for that. So you just want to make sure that you know that. But everybody qualifies for this new incentive from NYSEG, the utility. And you get the 26% tax credit after the NYSEG incentive is subtracted from the price, which is why it's there. So a 4-ton system is a pretty typical size for a house in this area. Some are smaller, some are bigger, but some need bigger systems, some need smaller systems. But I think the installers will tell you that they install a lot of 4-ton systems. Okay. And this is just another slide about the incentives that I think I should have put before that other slide now that I think about it. So this just shows you that the incentive is $1,500 per 10,000 BTU. And so the typical range of money you would get back is between $4,000 and $9,000. And then there's the federal tax credit that I mentioned before. And by the way, if you don't act this year, that federal tax credit is supposed to go down to 22% next year, and it was 30% last year. They thought they were going to be able to keep it at 30%, but somehow that didn't happen in Washington. So if you are interested, the incentives are really good right now. So this is an exciting new development. Just last week, NYSERDA announced that as part of their response to the COVID crisis, they are offering 0% financing through a program called Green Jobs, Green New York. And this can, anybody for a 1 to 4 family residential home can apply for this. Small commercial buildings with companies with 100 employees or less, and nonprofits are all eligible to apply for this as soon as the pause is lifted. This financing will be available for up to 12-month period after that, or until available funds are exhausted. And those of us who have dealt with these programs in the past will tell you that the latter is likely to happen. So those funds are likely to dry up. So if you are interested, again, you're going to want to be one of the first people applying for this 0% loan, because it doesn't get cheaper than that. So this is really exciting. I have to say that 800 installers and people interested in this issue were on a webinar with NYSERDA, and this is one of the things that we asked for as a response to COVID, and the state responded pretty quickly with this financing, which is very exciting to know how responsive they were. Okay, I'm almost done. So just to compare fuels, if you had a 3-ton load for your heating, and this is based on last year's prices, so it might not be quite up to date, it would probably cost you $888 to heat your house with gas, $2,000, a little bit more, to heat it with oil, $3,000 to heat it with propane, and if you have a electric baseboard heat, it's another, $2,200. So how does that compare to air source heat pumps, which we aren't talking about on this webinar? It's about the same as gas. And ground source heat pumps or geothermal heat pumps for that same house would be $642 a year. Yes, these fuels have changed in price since last year, but one thing that I'll point out about heat pumps is the variability of the price of your electricity is not going to go up and down that much, whereas propane, oil, and gas are all going to fluctuate. So this gives you the ability to plan and budget long-term, unlike heating oil and propane, that change quite quickly, sometimes overnight. So how you get involved with HeatSmart program is to enroll on our website. You fill out a very short form, and that puts you in a relationship with us and entitles you to ask for any or all of our installers to give you an assessment for your home's heating system, and also for insulation and air sealing, if that's something that you're interested in. We like to emphasize that that's often the first step for homeowners before changing their heating system. And there's no obligation to you. So please consider enrolling. That's the end of my part of the presentation, and I want to introduce our HeatSmart installer partners that are geothermal specialists, Dailey Electric out of Penn Yan and Halco, and NP Environmental. And we also have Snug Planet, and they are also on the phone. They are not geothermal installers in our program, but they do install geothermal, and they have other, they do air source heat pumps and home energy efficiency improvements. So I'm going to stop sharing my slides and turn it over to our installer partners to introduce themselves one at a time, starting with Nick and I can't remember who from NP. Oh, Kevin. Hi, Kevin. Sorry about that. Nick and Kevin from NP Environmental. So say hello, fellas.
Lisa, thank you very much. We appreciate it. Great presentation. Thanks for the information. My name is Nick Pryputniewicz, co-founder and field engineer with NP Environmental. NP Environmental is a design, build, sustainable technologies company out of Waterville, New York. Started in 2004, and we're an original to the HeatSmart program. We specialize in ground source and air source heat pump systems, heat pump hot water heaters, ventilation systems, and indoor air quality systems, and we also have a full service department. Our belief then, back in 2004, long before heat pumps had the support that they do today, was that every home, building, process, or anything that requires temperatures between 35 degrees all the way up to 135 degrees, a very broad range, was a good fit for 400% efficient 3-in-1 heat pump technology. And I know what you're thinking when I throw out that number 400%, and it's what piqued my interest back in the beginning too. And it's hard to think or hard to consider that anything can have efficiencies above 100%. If you look at your conventional systems today, you're looking at 95, maybe 98% in the most perfect conditions with a perfect installation. Many things come into play. And the most important thing when you're considering the 400% efficiency is what can this do for you, and how can us here at NP Environmental help you put that to work for you and answer the question around how it achieves such high efficiency. So if you'd like to learn more, you can sign up to have a chat with us through this HeatSmart program. We appreciate your time. Your time is valuable, and we enjoy being out here with you tonight and look forward to speaking with you. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Nick. And next, I want to introduce, where are you, Ryan? Ryan Dailey and Leah Dailey from Dailey Electric. Are you there?
Yes, good evening. Sorry, I had to unmute us. Sorry. Thanks for joining us. Ryan will be right back. So we are Dailey Electric. Ryan and his dad started this back in he's been doing it for over 20 years, but Ryan took over the business in 2007. And really they started with just retro new construction kind of houses and projects. Back around 2010, Ryan really started to get involved with the geothermal and learned as much as he could. And since that point, we've really kind of focused at least 50 to 75% of our business on the geothermal. We also do the air source heat pumps, but we also do a lot of new construction and retro fits. So we have about 7 GC contractors around Keuka Lake, Seneca Lake that actually use us exclusively for their plumbing, electric, and heating. And most of the time we can turn most of our new construction into the geothermal. What has happened is the new construction has helped us get into the houses of the neighbors and friends that hear about it and see it and just love the utility rooms. And so that's helped us out a lot. We actually are partners in the HeatSmart Southern Tier down in Binghamton. And that we did that for last year and we're continuing this year. So that actually was our first exposure to any of the HeatSmart programs. We really enjoyed the HeatSmart program. So we're looking forward to working with everybody in Tompkins.
Thanks so much. And next we will go to Halco Energy, and I believe it's Matt Dennis who is going to speak for them. So take it away, Matt.
Hey everybody, my name is Matt with Halco Energy. Just a little bit about Halco. We've been with the HeatSmart program since day one. We're also part of two other HeatSmart programs, CNY and in Rochester. What makes Halco a little bit different is we do everything in the house. So I know this is mainly focused with geothermal, but we're a whole home energy contractor. So soup to nuts when it comes to insulation, air sealing, energy efficiency, and HVAC, we can handle all that for you. Been in business since 1984, so we've been doing this geothermal thing for quite a long time, long before it was a thing. When it was really more of a niche application. Now it's becoming real mainstream. 120 employees that work for our company, and half of that is our service department. And we offer 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. So anything pretty much that you need as far as energy efficiencies or HVAC, we can handle for you. And that 24-hour thing isn't just a boast. We have an overnight staff. If you call us at 2 a.m. on Sunday morning, a real-life person answers the phone. We cover about 26 counties throughout the Finger Lakes in Central New York and the Southern Tier. Been in Ithaca area for more than 2 decades. We have hundreds and hundreds of heat pump systems that we've installed over the years. But you know, at the end of the day, we have the unique opportunity to be able to come into your house and solve pretty much all of your problems. And a lot of the times when you're looking at a heat pump system, you tend to find other issues that are affecting the energy efficiency of your home. So we can come in and address those, so we can put in a proper system for you, make your house efficient, and put put a heat pump system in for you. As Hal, our owner, has mentioned more than once, it doesn't make sense to put a heat pump on a screen door. So we want to make sure that the house is efficient and saving you money and making you as comfortable as possible. So we're happy to be here, and we're happy to answer any questions you have. So thanks.
Thanks so much, Matt. That's great. I love that line. I haven't heard that before. Don't put a heater on a screen door. It's great.